So let's shift to the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
It's not authentic.
Well, you know, she's got her sense of what might happen next year in the midterm. She was on ABC News talking about the Democrats possibly winning back the House in the midterms.
So if the Democrats win the House back?
Yeah, no, when? When the Democrats win the House back, then we will. I'm busy and focused on winning the House for the Democrats, making Hakeem Jeffrey the Speaker of the House, and to take us to a better place.
I mean, maybe she should talk to her caucus then, because half of the caucus wants him gone. So, I mean, that's part of the problems with the Democrats. They can never escape the Barack Obamas of the world, the Nancy Pelosi. So even though they say they have passed the torch, they linger around. Even when she has announced her retirement, she's still going out there doing interviews, talking about what the party is going to do. You got to step back and allow the next leader to do what they can do. But part of the reason why she has to try to wrangle in some of the legislators is because Hakeem Jeffrey doesn't have any control of his caucus right now.
Now, that being said, Lisa, putting your political analyst hat on here, just historically speaking, Democrats do have the inside track to win the House back because the majority is so thin for the Republicans. It would take a real aberration for the Republicans to hold the House. Not saying it's impossible, but that's her point, I think.
Well, but she would also know a thing or two about losing midterms.
Yeah,
she was in charge in 2010. I was at the National Republican Congressional Committee at the time. She lost 63 seats in the House. That was one of the biggest, most historical losses for Democrats in the history of this country, so she would know a thing or two. But Guy, to your point, yes, since World War II, typically the party in charge loses the midterms almost every time to an average about 25 to 30 seats. Now, that's tightened over the years, right? Because these seats, due to redistricting, you don't have, they're more solidly in one camp or another, right? So we'll see. I mean, I think the big thing for Republicans, the best thing they can do to set themselves up and President Trump is just to get the economy moving and for Americans to feel it in their pocketbooks as well, Lawrence.
So one of the things that she also did in her interview was talked about her relationship with the current president of the United States. Here are some of her viral moments from in the past, her standing up in the cabinet room, as well as her tearing up the speech as well. She talked about her anti-Trump message. Watch.
It was a horrible meeting. I think those people must have been embarrassed. If you look at the picture when I'm looking at them, they've got their heads down. But you know what I'm saying when I go out the door?
What?
I'm leaving here because I've had it with you, Mr. President. With you, all roads lead to Putin.
They put that picture out and said, "Crazy Nancy's unhinged," or whatever they said.
No, they did me a big favor. It was I get more requests to sign that picture. People like the tearing up of the speech. I didn't intend to go to speech to tear it up, but the first part of it, I tore a page because he was lying, and then the next page, and then the next page. And I thought it was a manifesto of lies all throughout. So I better just tear up the whole speech. Now, the speeches are on strong paper. They're so you have to do it a few times to get it done. But I had no intention of doing it. I thought my staff was going to die.
Yeah, that's not true.
I think bragging about ripping paper is probably not the flex that she thinks it is. It's really not that hard. But I can't. Don't you think she went into that knowing she was going to do that?
Look at this. Look
for the camera.
Yeah.
With the cameras rolling and standing up and pointing at Trump in the other moment, this was signaling, and she was good at this. She understands that her base wants to see hardcore resistance and opposition all the time. And if that means symbolic moments like that, she was happy to serve those up.
But that's the problem with her party. You get the antics, but no policy behind it. At least with the president, you get his bombastic personality and you get some policy to go along with it as well. You know, I think of her most devastating piece of legislation, which is Obamacare, which she told us, you know, we got to pass it for you to see it. And now we're still, years later,
we're seeing it.
Still dealing with the disaster that she was one of the writers of and pushed a lot for. So she talks about the president's lies. Let's talk about the lie that, you know, if you pass it, we're going to be able to see.
Can I just say one other quick thing about the ripping up of the speech? I'm so old that I remember when one...
You're not old, because that would mean that we're old, too.
Well, but I think
let's be
we're
careful.
all old enough to remember when one guy on the Republican side shouted one thing at Barack Obama during one of these speeches, and they were just clutching their pearls. The decorum, how could he? And here's the Speaker of the House at the time ripping up a speech behind the president. They're like, good for her.
Right.
Give me a break.
They're such hypocrites. And like, they're the ones that say Trump's a threat to democracy while they're trying to kick him off the ballot or, you know, trying to use lawfare to get him. I will say 2010, the reason why they lost the midterms, because of Obamacare.
Yeah.
And now both parties agree it was a failure, although no one can figure out, they can't come together to figure out how to fix it.
The Democrats are trying to blame Republicans for the failure of their law. All right.
Let's continue.
I think we solved that.
That's right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.